thank you very much for tuning in here. We said we'd do an episode of the podcast, and what better title to give it than who the fuck is this Joe Doyle fella? So we'll explain a little bit about who I am, and hopefully you enjoy following our content and you subscribe to our podcast and our Facebook and our YouTube and everything else there. We're upping our game in the social media. Anyways, my name is Joe Doyle. I'm from Clondalkin in Dublin. I am 35 years old. Sweet Jesus, that's fucking old, man. You know that? 35, man. Fuck. Anyways, I run a Facebook page called Joe Doyle Entrepreneur, where I help tradesmen, business owners, and would-be property investors make more money from their business and get going in the property investment space. But where I'm at right now is not really important for this episode. It's where I came from, right? So I want people to know a little bit about who I am and what I do. So I grew up... sure, we may as well. We do those flashbacks in the movies, you know, where it starts with the end, something happens, and then they flick back to the very start, right? So where are we at right now? I've got an office in Clondalkin. I've got a good team of people down here, and I spend most of my time, well, my time is split up in terms of the work sense by managing my property portfolio. We've got like 50 odd units there all around Dublin. A little bit less than 50 units now at this stage because we've a few getting chopping and change, right? 11 million quid is the portfolio value, and we get a lot of rent in from that, and that pays a lot of the bills, and life is good. And we have to work harder now, to be honest. But people don't mind working hard once the rewards are there. When I'm not on the property side of things doing buy to rent, I do buy, refurbish, sometimes just buy them and sell them on. I do all sorts of stuff in the property space. When I'm not in the property space, I'm on Facebook here making videos, and I'm pretty much looking to connect with people who are tradesmen, sole traders, and they're not happy with the amount of work they're making. I say this kind of half jokingly, but the more I do it, the more I say it, and the more I go on, I'm more serious. You fucking make friends with me. You let me into your business, your whole life's going to improve. End of story. That is the absolute long and the short of it. I deal with so many business owners, and the results we get for them is absolutely astounding, you know. And that came mostly from all of the mistakes that I've made, right? So, you know, life is good for me now in the business sense, but we had a few years where we were almost bankrupt, and it would come down to a flick of a coin a few times as to whether I would succeed and be able to escape all this potential bankruptcy issues and stuff like that was going on. Never came down to a flick of a coin whether I was going to succeed, because I still haven't succeeded as of yet, but I fucking will. Don't you worry about that. I'm out there pushing harder and harder every single day. I'm on a mission to make 100 million quid. No secret there. I'm happy to say that to you. And I think a lot of people have issues when you hear people saying Irish people are begrudgers, right? I don't actually believe that they're begrudgers as much as they are uncomfortable. A lot of people are uncomfortable around ambition. And like I'm fucking mad to do a deal. I'll do a deal all the time. I'm always ready to do a deal. I'm always ready to do good business. I'm quite ambitious. I'm a bit over the top when it comes to this sort of stuff, but I'm a man on a mission, and that's what I must do in order to get to where I want to be. And I believe that, you know, business has to be win-win, otherwise you may as well not get involved. You know, I've got a win-win relationship with all my tenants, all my staff, all my clients on our business program. You know, it has to be win-win at all times. I drink a lot of water as well. So people are always like, Jesus, Joe, you're always guzzling water in them videos. I drink a lot of water, yeah, so that's the noise you're hearing in the background. So let me take you on a little bit of a journey over the last while, so that you know who I am and what I do. And I just find that people connect with people a lot better when they know their background and they know their personality or whatever else. You know, if you're doing a bit of business with someone and you go out for a pint with them, you know after that then if you like them or not, isn't it? That's really that's the way it is, you know. So I started off as a bricklayer. When I was in school, I always knew I was going to be a bricklayer. I was working with my old lad. He had a little crew of builders going. And I knew that when I left school, I was going to be a bricklayer. So I left school after the junior cert. Started working with him. I couldn't register as an apprentice till I was 16, which was, you know, a year and a half or so later on after that. But I was tipping away working with myself. And then when I was 18, I bought the house next door to my mother's house. Quite easy back then. So 18, I was born in 84, so that would have been 2002. Easy enough to buy a house back then. But I always knew I was going to go in and buy property. I remember actually I was looking at buying Subaru Impreza, and a guy came up and we were talking about buying the car. And he literally came up to my ma's house, and I'm in the car, and he let me have a little spin of it, and then I'm looking at the house, and there was a toss-up between one or the other, and we bought the house, thankfully. At that time, I was working with my dad. Myself and my buddies used to work with my dad, and that was really it at that point. And then I bought that house, and then when I was 19, I got an opportunity to buy a piece of land to build another house in the estate across the way. And the way it worked was, if you were buying a house, you needed a 20% deposit at that stage. However, if you are building a house, the bank would give you 80% of the site cost and 100% of the build cost, which basically meant the amount of money that you needed to get the deal over the line was a lot less. And because I was building the house myself, if I could basically get 100% mortgage. So I done that a couple of times. I had about 4 or 5 houses. I was kind of doing one every year. 18, 19, 20, 21. And then when I was 23, which would have been 2007, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I just couldn't buy any more houses because the numbers didn't stack up. There was just, this was the height of the boom. We didn't know it was a boom at the time. And I said I better set up a business because there's no point in keep buying properties if they're artificially inflated in price. But I bought fucking one more, right? And then I set up a business. So I can remember I decided the first thing that I needed to do when I set up a business, because I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what I was talking about, I needed to hire a business coach. So the very first purchase in the business, the company I set up was called insuranceworks.ie, and we were going to specialise in insurance-based property repairs. And the reason how I actually set up that, just as a side note to that, the reason how I set up the business was because I got a leak in the roof of the house that I bought, and I was going to go out, and there's water pissing through the ceiling, and I was going to go out and fix it. And I'm on the phone to the insurance company on the ladder, and they're like, no, don't fix it, wait till the loss adjuster gets there. And I'm like, what the fuck, this was a nightmare. I was confused, and I thought, I'm literally standing outside the house, me and my dad with a ladder ready to rock and roll and fix this roof, and they're telling me not to fix it. This just doesn't make sense, and all sorts of stuff, that complications that come along with that. So they made it sound very complicated, and straight away I thought, bing, here's an opportunity. I'm looking for a business. I think God sent that leak in the roof for me. That was the business we were going to go into. I had bought a property down in Crumlin. You'll cry when you hear it. It cost me €685,000 for the property. Wrote a check and got the mortgage from the bank, the usual combination there. And I met this guy who was a business coach, and I said, listen, I can remember the words he said to me. I said, look, I've got this property. I don't know whether to refurb it now and then start the business later on, or start the business now and refurb the property later on. And if I start the business now, it would mean I would have to get the loan offer reissued, which was the money for the refurb costs. And his exact words to me were, sure, you're hot to trot now, you may as well go ahead and get the business up and running now. Really what he was saying was he wanted his fucking 14 grand right now. And he talked me into that, and he didn't give me what he was setting out to do, which was good business advice. But at the same time, he probably knew no better than himself, because a lot of coaches, trainers, business people steering the ships, harsh reality is they don't fucking know what they're doing. That's being straight with you, So anyways, set up the business, insuranceworks.ie, in our first month, which would have been January 2018, we made €20,000 profit from the garage next door to the house that I bought. That's where we're based. Tiny little garage, probably 15 square meters, The second month made another 20 grand. The third month made another 20 grand. I'm like, holy shit, man, this is easy. I'm a legend. I'm printing money here now, 20 grand profit a month for our first 3 months, So then we hired another business coach, as a consultant, to come in and help us with different things because our previous program had expired, So what happened was, when we hired the business coach in 2017, it was a few months of a program, and we finished then. So January 18 was when we were really at the races. We were trying different things beforehand, but I wouldn't even class them as trading properly. We were trying to get the business off the ground. So we got it off the ground January 18, made a load of money first 3 months, brought in a new consultant. He told me to do a load of different things. I'm sure some of them work, some of them didn't work. Anyways, the end of the year, I think we finished the year with €15,000 profit, right? So having gone from like 60 grand profit in the first quarter, we finished the year with 15 grand profit. And that was a rude awakening. That was an eye opener for me. We just got big, and I didn't know what I was doing. It was just pot luck if I was going to be making money or not, But anyways, we stuck with it. We stayed in the garage at the side of the house for a good few years. And we are on a typical year, we were doing between 800 grand and €1,000,000 worth of turnover. And I learned a massive, massive amount from that business. We've done about 2,500 repairs in all the times that I was in that business, which is that's a lot of properties to work in, for a small crew. We done really well over. It was hard work, to be honest, right? But I like to think that was my apprenticeship, Now, between buying a few houses at the start and setting up the insurance works and all that, I was buying more properties, and then the recession had struck, and then all of a sudden the banks wanted all their money back. So I basically, at this point in time, owed 3 million quid to the banks, and my properties was worth £1,000,000. So they were screaming, wanting their money back. Everybody was saying to me, Joe, you need to go bankrupt. You're not going to be able to clear the loans, all these different things. And they were dead right, It was just, I think that I heard a term in law, there's something called the reasonable man test. So would a reasonable man walk out onto the motorway with traffic whizzing up and down? No, he wouldn't, So the reasonable man test, I'm not even sure if it applies here, but was it worthwhile for me to not fight? Was it worthwhile for me to fight all that bankruptcy and try to find a way out? 100% not. However, what people don't understand, what people don't know is entrepreneur, underneath my top here, right? And this is the same. Anybody that's self-employed, when they take off their top, they have an inbuilt Superman costume on there, right? Because that's what entrepreneurs do. We're fucking superheroes in our own right. Although most times we never do any good, but we just have a serious desire to do more, a serious desire to just keep plowing on and figuring shit out, And I didn't know it at the time, and it was the wrong decision at the time, but I plowed through and I figured these things out one step at a time, So we had started off as a property investor, went into the business, never made any money out of property investing, because every time I made money, I just put it straight back in onto the next one, onto the next one, onto the next one. So it's basically the strategy I had when you look back in it now is I'm going out to the horse racing for the day. I'm going to put this money on this horse, and when it wins, I'm going to put all on the next horse, all on the next horse, all on the next horse. Every single washer I had just kept going on to the next horse. And I think it was horse number 10 fucking let me down, So 10 properties, and the banks wanted all their money back, all that sort of jazz, It was doomed. As I look back now, of course, it was fucking destined to fail, Never mind the economy, just the strategy that I was implementing. I was just putting the money all onto the next horse, all onto the next horse. However, I got a good cash generating business up at the time, and I could kind of lean on one when the business was going not great. There was money coming in from the rent. When the rent wasn't going good, we had the business, So that was, I pretty much had the two of them going on at the time, So I was, what would you say there? I didn't have one stream of income. I had the business income, and then I had the property investing income, So fast forward to, I don't even know what fucking year it was now at this stage. I think it might have been 2000, and I'm looking up here because it was around 2012-ish, so kind of 12, 13, this stuff came to a head, it was just, there was two stages. Number one, where it all blew up and I had to be dealt with, and then the second stage was when I finished it off, and I got a memory popped up on my Facebook there, from 4 years ago, so that would have been 2015, and it just said, I've just done sitting on the keys in traffic. Just had to sign in the most important deal in my life. Couldn't care how long the traffic takes. Something like that. And that was the day that I'd signed to do away with my banking problems. I'd signed my last day with my last bank, and I was just sitting in traffic, and I was like floating. And so it was about October 2015. Yeah, actually, as you look right now, right? And I'm like, I'm going to fucking take over this whole fucking world now. I'm like, yeah, that's done. It's behind me. I'm going to do it, And that was the plan. I didn't lose the spark. I didn't lose the fire in my belly. In fact, it made me more eager. I was more mad to go and push forward, So I won't even bore you with the details of how I managed to negotiate the bank. Although RTE liked it and they made a full documentary about it, so that's another story. They obviously thought it was good. I'm just used to it now, and I've told the story so many times, and maybe I can do an episode in how I got out of being bankrupt. I'll cross that bridge when we come to it, for an episode in itself. The story there was that we done the day and I was ready to go, right? So I'd got people to try and help me out with dealing with this banking issue and all that, and all I really wanted to do at the time was just walk away from the properties altogether. However, the banks would not allow me to walk away. They just said, like, no, sit there, we want our money, right? Everybody else was getting properties repossessed, and I just wanted to give them back, but the negative equity was so much that they said no. And I'm glad now that they took that approach, because I managed to hold on to most of those properties. However, what happened was, it's just actually a strange thing there, right? A strange thing happened after that was that we went down to the guy who had been helping me with the property stuff, right? With the bank negotiation stuff. He's an old school guy, give me a bit of guidance or whatever else, and he was just hated banks, and I'd learned to acquire a hatred for banks as well because of what they were doing to me and the country and everything else there. But look, it is what it is, right? So I went into his office purely to say thanks for all the work that you've done and do a little debrief that this is all behind me now. And he had this big pile of files sitting on the desk, and I'm like, are they all in the same position as me? And he's walking around, like, fucking, he's effing out on this and this and this. And I'm looking, right, and it's like as if there was an angel sitting on the top of the files, and I was like, Joe, these are for you, right? So straight away I'm thinking, there is like dozens of people who are in the same position as me. They just want rid of all these properties. They can't get rid of these properties. I wanted rid of mine, and I'm at the fixing it. And now that I'm at the fixing all the problems, it wasn't really that bad, was it? Like, could I fix it again? I'm like, you know what? I probably could fix it again. So what I said to the guy was, will you ask those clients, can I take all them properties? I'll take them. I'll deal with the banks. I'll deal with everything. We get them off the hook. Oh, they wouldn't do that, and he was just a very negative set in his ways, man. So he said he'd come back to me. Well, I can't even remember the details. It's not that important. Anyways, I had an epiphany, a flashpoint. In, there's so much opportunity. There's gold in them folders there. And he got me 0 clients, right? Or 0 people who are like me. He never followed through on what he said he was going to do. Well, that's fine. It's no problem, right? However, I felt that there was going to be a market, so I put the word out there and started talking around to people, and all of a sudden people just start approaching me. Did you fix your problem with the banks? Yeah. Can you fix my problem? I don't know. I'll have a look. What do you want to do? I just want to walk away. So I'm like, yeah, listen, I'll help you walk away. So we put a process in place that allowed me to go in, talk to the banks, and for those who wanted to walk away, I could buy the properties off them. For those who didn't want to walk away, we could help them out a little bit, but really we were after the ones that wanted to walk away from the problems with the banks. So that's what we done. So we went in, restructured the loans, got some write-downs. The people walked away. They didn't have to make any payments. They didn't have to carry any legacy debt, and I just basically took care of that. And over time then we just put our own mortgages on the property, and basically that was my first boost back after dealing with the bankruptcy. And it took about, like, I can remember that it was January 1st. I was in I went away to Lanzarote for New Year's, and I got drunk on New Year's Eve, and I had to go home to bed early. And remember, all the kids were shining their lasers at me because I'm stumbling across the car park. Me missus, all my mates, all there, missus all there, and the kids. Great crack was. But sure, geez, I couldn't get a taxi home because it was New Year's. So by the time I walked all the way home, I was sober. And then I says, I'm not walking back down, it was too far. So I just went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning fresh. And I says, right, let's go with this. So basically from January 1st, would it have been 17? Yeah, it was 17. Yeah, definitely 17. We started taking on this type of work, and that managed to bump up the portfolio. And then we moved on to the next strategy and the next strategy, So we're going through these different stages, and your business is evolving and different things like that. And bear in mind, I had 10 years behind me. So at this point in time, I was like 31, 32. 10 years behind me running a building company. 10 years behind me negotiating with insurance companies. You know, a few years of negotiating with the banks. I'd had hundreds of clients. I'd had dozens of staff. I had loads of stuff going on. And it was only when I started talking to other people about their business that I realised how much I was doing in comparison to them. And when I got really deep into them, I only realised how much I'd grown in comparison to them. So most tradesmen were still tradesmen. They weren't business owners. Most investors had one or two properties and they were still hanging on to all the hassle over that. They weren't willing to grow and stuff like that. And I just realised that I actually have a bit of a knack for this sort of stuff because I love it. This is my gig. This is what I love doing, you know. Fast forward then to January 2018. I must actually check that. I could probably check on my phone there now. Was it 18 or 19? So this is not 17. I set up my Facebook page, Joe Doyle Entrepreneur. I think it was 17. Maybe I should have done my research beforehand, right? Doing my research on myself. Anyways, I started following Grant Cardone. And I'd strongly recommend you follow him. He's a cool dude from America. He's got $1 billion worth of real estate. His stuff is doubling, you know, and his portfolio is getting bigger and bigger all the time. He flies around the world in his private jet looking at deals. Flies around America and all. He's cool. He's crazy. He's fucking mad he is, right? But I started following him and he was putting this conference on called the 10X Growth Conference. And I says, okay, I want to go to that. And then I'm like, right, Joe, if I'm going to that, I'm not going, like, it's in Miami. Yeah, it's in Miami. If I'm going there, I'm gonna go all out on this. I'm gonna splash a few quid, right? This may just have a little daydream. Yeah, I'm gonna fly first class. I always wanted to fly first class. I'm going to get myself a nice hotel room. You know, Grant drives what's he drive out? Rolls Royce, whatever the one he drove. I'm gonna get one of them to pick me up from the hotel and bring me to the airport. This is me dreaming in my head, right? So I said, well, if I'm gonna do all this stuff, I'm talking to you now, Joe. Don't be thinking you're Bertie Big Balls because you're at the dealing with your problems with the bank. You can't go splashing all this money away just because things are starting to turn for you a little bit and all. If you want to go to that conference, you can go, but you must create the money from some new source altogether. And I'm thinking, right, what can I do here? I'm like, right, well, I'm at the doing a lot of fuck ups on the property. I'm at the turn them around. I'm at the doing well on the property on the back end of even sorting out problems for other people. I'm sure I could train other people how to do the same and get going and get them a couple of properties under their belt. So then I took out my phone and I done my first ever Facebook live video. And I just said, hey, you know, I've got a new business idea coming up. I'm happy to share it. And people are like jumping on. And it's me sitting it was on the beach when for New Year's Day. It was New Year's the following year again. I was away and I was trying to replicate the success that I'd got from the year previous. And I just started talking to Facebook. And I didn't realise that people actually liked to listen to what I had to say. Like I got like 100 friend requests the next morning. Loads of stuff. I'm like, what in the name of God has just happened there, right? So then I started doing more videos just talking about business and different things, and people started following me, you know. I had no products, so I had nothing to sell, other than I had an idea that if I got 10 people to give me $4,000 each, I would show them how to replicate the success I got on the property side of things before I fucked up. But I'd show them how to get a couple of houses under their belt and get them going. We got $40,000. I'm like, Jesus, that was easy, you know. People were happy to jump out and give us. Actually, no, we got $24,000. That's what it was. People were happy to jump out and give us money. So we went after it, and it worked. And I realised, holy shit, man, this Facebook works. There's something with this here, you know. And we went to the conference, and I was delighted that I could spend the money because it was all business. It was a business trip. I'd business money, it was a business expense, all that sort of good stuff. And while I was there, the mind is just doing backflips and somersaults, and I'm looking at Grant on the stage talking. I basically sat up right next to him and all, doing all that stuff. Went to a party in his house, cool stuff. And I got another idea. He was doing this other thing, which was a 5-day trip. It was $25,000 to go and spend 5 days in the Bahamas as a mastermind with them. I'm like, I'm not fucking spending $25,000. Holy shit. But I'm like, how can we get $25,000 to spend there? So I went out. I says, okay, here's an idea. We're going to put another business program together. We're going to take 10 people on. Actually, no, we're going to take 20 people on, 1,500 quid, and this is what we're going to do. So, in fact, I've just told you a lie there. The first group of people was to help them with their business. The second video I made was to help people buy some properties. So I was like, right, I'm going to need 30 grand here, plus a few other bits and bobs. So I literally took a break out from the conference, made the video, rang Linda. I said, Linda, people are going to be dropping up checks. People are going to be dropping up cash. She's like, for what? Who are these people? I said, I don't know. Just fucking take the money. Put it into the bank every single day. Don't keep money out in the house overnight. And she's like, okay. Rang the office. I says, Rachel, listen, people are going to be dropping in money. Take the money. Put it into the bank straight away. Just get their names. We'll sort it all out and come back. She's like, who are these people? I was like, I don't know. I've just connected with them on Facebook. So we got a lot of people. I think we had literally 30 grand dropped to the office by the time I came back from Miami. And then I'm like, this is just fucking crazy. Like, so basically I'd committed to going to spend that money. And because I committed to spending the money to go to the mastermind and learn all this stuff, it forced me to think at a higher level and say, it forced me to think not as I'm not spending 25 grand. It forced me to think of where could I get the 25 grand. So this just opened my whole mind up to this whole kind of possibility thinking scenario, you know. It was actually crazy, you know. It was an interesting scenario. And we started getting money. And so then I started creating programs and I started learning different things and figuring out the way of the world and the way of internet marketing and all that sort of stuff. Really then we got lots of people like that we were working with, lots of clients. And we ended up with a product called 52 Steps to a Better Business. I've got like over 200 clients on that, and these are all builders, sole traders, self-employed people. All, you know, you'll hear a lot of them on my podcast. These are good guys that are guests in other episodes of the podcast. But these guys, you know, I can unequivocally say this. Is that the right way to say it? These guys make far more money in their business as a direct result of being on my program, right? Now, we've got guys that don't do their homework and they don't do what they say and they pop in every now and then. That's grand. Every single person who's on my program and who turns up there and does what they're supposed to do makes far more money as a direct result of what we teach them there. And it's absolutely magic. I love doing it. I get little victory messages off people every week and every day. Oh, look, I heard what you're saying here, and I've done this here, and I'm making more money, and it's fucking savage, you know. So now we're pretty much kind of established on Facebook. You know, people wave at me, call me when I'm walking down the road and stuff like that you wouldn't know, and you just learn to like, oh, he looks like a builder, he must know me. He looks like a plumber, he must watch some videos. You just learn how to deal with that. The main thing is that we've got going on there, in my opinion, is that I'm a fucking ordinary bloke, right? I'll stand next to you. I don't stick out in any way, shape or form. You want to do a deal with me, I'll fucking do a deal with you. You know what I'm saying? You want to make money, I'll make money with you. It has to be win-win. We both have to be able to make money. This is the way it is, right? I excel the minute it comes to the whole area of business. I believe that every single person on this planet has a superpower. And my superpower is that I can look at any small business, particularly in the construction space, although we are expanding that a little bit now. I can look at any small business and within literally 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, I can say, that's what's wrong with that business. And it amazes me how good I am at that stuff. It just still amazes me every day. I'm like, how the fuck did I know that? And you think back, and it always goes back to something that went wrong on me. Like, it's never, you don't really learn much from experiences that went well, but you learn a fucking shitload from stuff that went wrong, you know. And it's a crazy old scenario. Like, every time somebody presents a problem to me, I'm like, that rings a bell. And I can nearly pinpoint exactly where I learned the lesson. It's mad. I didn't realise that when I was in insurance works running that business for 10 years, that was my apprenticeship. And now I can pretty much work from anywhere in the world, just chatting away to people on the phone. You know, once I have a pen, paper, I can kind of map out what the problem is, what's going on, all these different things, you know. And, you know, I'm very grateful for that. And what happens now is the business that we run here, that fuels our property investing. So we make money from this stuff and it brings back into the property investing, you know. But it's not really about the money. It's about the results that we make for people, the results that we get for people. That's the absolute magical thing, you know. So we see a lot of people and everybody wants to make money and everybody wants to do better. And, you know, you hear all these motivational things that people are saying. People are like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then you ask them to fucking meet you at 7 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, that's a bit early, or you tell them you need to work on a bank holiday, oh, it's a bank holiday, like, so fucking what's a bank holiday, you don't fucking work on a bank, you know. Everybody, you know, Mike Tyson said it, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth, you know. Everybody, you know, everybody has a plan or a dream to get rich until the going gets tough, you know. And the major plus that I take from the bankruptcy stuff that I had to deal with was that I never ever thought about giving up. I never ever thought about creating wealth throughout that process. I just wanted rid of certain things, yeah, but I didn't ever say I'm going to go and get a job or whatever else. And I hate listening to tradesmen saying, sometimes I think I'm better off getting a job for someone else. I'm like, no, don't fucking say that, you know. Because the reality is you ain't better off getting a job for someone else because you ain't wired like everybody else. You're fucking different. You are an entrepreneur. And not everybody in this world is an entrepreneur. That is the absolute long and the short of it, you know. And if you're an entrepreneur, you cannot work for anybody else. End the fucking story. You might be able to work for them for a month, 6 months, a year. You know, you're going to have a tortured existence working in that job, you know. So, that brings us up to today. As part of our building our profile and extending our reach and all that sort of stuff, we decided to do our podcast. And the main reason why I actually decided to do a podcast was because people who say to me all the time, Joe, I love listening to your videos when I'm driving around in the van. Great, I know most of my videos get listened to when people are driving vans. However, when you're listening to videos on your phone and you're driving around, when the video is over, it flicks to the next one. And I know the guys will be obviously fucking about with their phone when they're driving there. And I said, if somebody fucking ever tells me they had a crash or something while you are listening to my videos, how could I live with that, you know? So we put it in the podcast. You basically play it on your phone and you can play one episode and that'll play and then it'll go on to the next episode. And your phone can be on lock while it happens. You know, that's the magical thing about it. Whereas if I rely on people to come to Facebook, you know, it's not safe for the lads that's driving around, you know. Now, we're going to build a separate audience through this. Our podcast is alive a week now. Let's see where we're at. Let's have a look here. So have we got 1,000 people to listen to our podcast in a week? There's a little stat comes up here. I think that it takes a minute to load this week. Hold on, we'll see what pops up there now in a minute. Anyways, it's a new medium. It's kind of a long form, isn't it? It's 30 minutes as opposed to listening to a video. Watching a video for 2 or 3 4 minutes. Like I find that on my Facebook page, I do a lot of 2-minute tips because they're fucking 2 minutes. You know, anybody can listen to a 2-minute business tip because it's short and to the point. Whereas when it comes to podcasts, people are willing to listen to a little bit longer, you know. So guys, look, that's the story with myself. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help as many people as I can whilst continue to grow my portfolio. I have some bad fucking English at times, don't I? It's bad enough like listening to myself with this poxy accent, but when you listen to the way you say things, I'm like, that doesn't even fucking make sense. But you know what? Fuck it. I'll tell you what makes sense. I make sense when I'm fucking in the zone. I make euros when I'm in the zone, yeah. So it doesn't make a difference. Like I'd say to lads, make a video or write this on your Facebook or do this or do that, and they'd be like, oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, listen, nobody gives a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Nobody really cares if you win the jackpot tomorrow. If you hit the jackpot tomorrow, no one cares if you go broke tomorrow. In the harshest way, also that no one cares if you fucking live or die, except for a few very small people right around you. Not a very small number of people around you. So the reality is we got one life, we should just fucking lash at it, you know. And I give it a good run every single day. My whole concept, my whole motto of life is mind, body, wallet. So look after the mental health, look after the physical health, look after the few quid. In that order. Mental health first, physical health second. So I'm very careful about drinking water. I'm careful about what I eat. I'm careful about training. I've got the marathon now next week. I just find that the healthier I eat and the more I focus on my work, the healthier I eat and the more I factor in my training as part of my work, the more I can work. I work a fucking insane amount of hours, you know, but I love it. And we're getting massive results for a lot of people all along the way, you know. So guys, I'm going to leave you with that. hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Who the Fuck's This Joe Doyle fella. Do subscribe to our podcast. If you've got any questions or if there's anything at all that we could help you out with, don't be afraid to get in touch with us on the Facebook page, And I will see you all at the top. Thanks for listening. Stay cool.